Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a sci-fi romance movie called I.O. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The film is set in a post-apocalyptic present where Earth's atmosphere has become extremely toxic. Some scientists had predicted it in advance and created a power station that was sent to space to harvest geothermal energy from other planets. Soon, people started dying in their sleep and suffocating in the streets. The blood in their veins started turning black due to an unexpected change in the composition of Earth's atmosphere. Many called it Earth's last-ditch attempt to survive by kicking humans out. The remaining humans then fled the planet aboard 100 ships. They soon arrived at a space station in what was called the Exodus mission. The station is like a lifeboat above Jupiter's volcanic moon called Io. However, not everyone was willing to give up on Earth, and Sam Walden is one of the few humans still residing there. She lives alone at high altitude, where the air is still breathable for now. Sam is currently trying to raise bees that can survive in this atmosphere. She is also continuing her father, Dr. Harry Walden's research. He had taught Sam that the fundamental principle of nature is survival. It is in our mind, in our soul, to seek life no matter what. Plant life quickly evolved to resist the ammonia toxicity, so Sam hopes to help bees and other pollinators to adapt. This could eventually clean the air via the pollination of oxygen-producing plants. Sam and Dr. Walden believe that humans are taking to the stars in search of salvation, while failing to realize that they are already on the most significantly equipped spaceship. They believe that people will inevitably adapt and flourish again on Earth. Meanwhile, Sam has a boyfriend named Elon who lives on the Io station. They frequently send each other emails as a form of communication. Elon wants Sam to join him aboard the station, but she is sure that the Earth is not dying, it is just being reborn. One day, Sam receives an email from Elon in which he reveals that the Space Council has officially announced the first New World expedition, which seeks to find humanity's next home. They have chosen Proxima Centauri b, an exoplanet that is an identical twin of the Earth and is 10 years away from humans. All of Elon's friends have applied for the mission. He further reveals that the announcement of the New World expedition has grave implications for the Exodus program. Before Sam could finish reading the email, her computer malfunctions and she heads out on her ATV to find an old abandoned library. There, she checks a mythology book, but a massive storm suddenly advances towards the building. This forces her to rush back to her shelter. Sam then fixes her computer and continues reading the email from Elon. She learns that the Council's decision to announce the first New World expedition changes everything. Effective immediately, all spacecraft personnel, energy, and other important supplies have been redirected to the New World expeditions. The remaining Exodus shuttles on Earth will also be launched in 4 days. As this will be her last chance, Elon urges Sam to leave Earth with her father. The next day, Sam inspects her bees, only to learn that all of them have been killed by the toxic storm. It has also wreaked havoc on her greenhouse farm. Dejected, she returns to her bed and later writes back to Elon. Sam reveals about the storm and the bees, explaining that she has lost all the genetic progress she had made. Sam admits that she is close to her breaking point right now. She also confesses that even if she wants to leave Earth, she can't make it to the launch site on time with the ATV and the amount of oxygen it can carry. Shortly after, an unknown man named Micah lands near the base on a helium balloon. He soon meets with Sam and says that he intends to reach the launch site and leave Earth, but first, he wants to speak with Dr. Harry Walden. Sam offers him water that she filters using sand and charcoal. Micah is initially hesitant about drinking the cloudy water, but she assures him that it is safe. She then introduces herself as Dr. Walden's assistant, hiding the fact that she is his daughter. When Micah asks to meet him, Sam claims that Dr. Walden is out in the field somewhere, conducting research. Micah asks to be taken there, but Sam says that she can't, because she doesn't know his exact location. As a result, Micah decides to wait for the scientist, and Sam fixes some food for him. She gives him the fresh vegetables she grew in her greenhouse. Over lunch, Sam asks if there's any animals left in the vast sea. It is one of her dreams to go there and experience the cold breeze, but Micah responds that there's nothing left on Earth anymore. All the animals have gone extinct, and even the microorganisms are dying out. In the next scene, Sam shows him her lab where she conducts her research. She also talks about her friend Elon, who is currently working embarking on the solar cell mission to Alpha Centauri. After this, she plays Dr. Walden's pre-recorded audio on the radio for the people remaining on Earth. This surprises Micah, as he was under the impression that he was listening to Dr. Walden live. Sam responds that it is the standard protocol for when Dr. Walden is out in the field, and he will probably be back tomorrow. The next day, as the two are talking, Sam abruptly reveals that Elon is not her friend, but her boyfriend. She asks Micah if he finds it weird, but he says that there's nothing wrong with loving someone who lives millions of miles away. He then opens up about himself, revealing that he once wanted to be a teacher, but ended up in a hot air balloon. Sam is impressed by his honesty, very brave of him, as the hardest part of being a balloonist is admitting that you're asexual, and finally confesses that she's the daughter of Harry Walden. Next, she takes him to the greenhouse and shows him how she pollinates her plants manually. Now that all of her bees have died, Sam has 3 sister plants: corn, squash, and beans. Corn provides the structure for beans to climb, while squash spreads out the soil. The beans provide the nitrogen in return. Micah seems to be bored by this, so he changes the subject and asks about her tattoos. Enough about beans, show those legs. Sam reveals it's the Euler's equation and Noack's evolvability equation. She explains the latter equation and tells him that the symbols on the left represent all possible strings of molecules, while the symbols on the right represent selection pressures and fitness ratings. In short, all that's necessary for life to emerge are molecules subject to forces of selection and mutation. If those conditions are met, self-replication emerges. When Micah asks about the markings on her rib cage, desperate to turn this boring shit into something sexy, Sam reveals that she did them to improve her immunity. She also shows him a video clip of a pig that Dr. Walden reared in his lab. Although it died after being exposed to the toxic air, it was still a great achievement. The next day, Micah finds Dr. Walden and his wife June's old bedroom. He asks Sam about her mom, and she reveals that June fell sick and passed away. Upon hearing this, Micah blames Dr. Walden for keeping them on this toxic Earth, which resulted in June's death. He then suddenly rushes to her lab and breaks the door to Dr. Walden's office. Lo and behold, the room is in poor condition, and it seems that no one has been there in a really long while. This is when we learn that Dr. Walden is actually dead. The movie then flashes back to the past. After spending years on post-apocalyptic Earth, running experiments and losing his wife, Dr. Walden has come to the realization that the planet is beyond saving. He urges Sam to leave for Io, but she refuses to give up on him. Dr. Walden explains that sooner or later she will have to leave, because she is going to be alone after he passes away due to health complications. Back to the present, Sam takes Micah to the site where her parents are buried. After paying his respects to the dead, Micah announces that he's going to take Sam to the space shuttle with him. He also makes it clear that he won't take no for an answer, so she reluctantly agrees. Later, Sam writes to her boyfriend that she has decided to leave Earth for good, and that they will reunite in no time. As she packs her stuff, she notices that a queen bee is hatched in her hive, and it is immune to the toxic air. This makes Sam really happy, but it changes nothing, as she still plans to leave Earth for good. The only problem is that they aren't able to leave right away. The duo must wait for favorable winds to blow their hot air balloon towards their destination. Shortly after, Sam receives a reply from her boyfriend, expressing his delight that she'll be leaving Earth, but he then reveals that he has signed up for the 10-year-long New World expedition. This means that they will be separated for many, many years. The news devastates Sam, and she breaks into tears. Seeing her heart broken, Micah cooks for her and tells her about his time in the pre-apocalyptic Earth. He fondly remembers his time in the suburbs and going to the city with his friends. We used to smash 40s and rip bombs out of apples. As time passes, Micah gets increasingly restless, waiting for favorable winds. Meanwhile, Sam starts feeling lonely now that her boyfriend has gone farther away from her. She starts getting closer to Micah, and they end up making love. The next day, he wakes up to the news that the shuttle launch has been changed to another site, farther away than the original. Micah inspects his helium reserve and concludes that he doesn't have enough fuel for the expedition. He gets frustrated and laments that he is cursed. When Sam inquires what he means, Micah reveals that he saw a dozen people, including his own wife, die of starvation. He was the main reason behind it, because he selfishly hid the food from them. So as he cursed. However, Micah promises that he will never let anything happen to Sam. She is moved by his words, but they have bigger problems to deal with right now. Sam reveals that she knows where they can find helium. This gets Micah excited, and the two embark on a journey to the city, which has been blanketed by the toxic atmosphere. Luckily, they manage to find the fuel, which they use to refill their helium tanks. The next day, Micah prepares the balloon to leave for the launch site, but Sam insists on visiting an art museum first. He is reluctant, but eventually gives in and asks her to return within 1 hour. Unfortunately, after a few minutes, it suddenly dawns on Micah that she doesn't want to leave Earth at all. This sends him into a state of panic, and he immediately goes after her with extra oxygen tanks. Micah rushes to the museum and finds her admiring a classic painting. He assures Sam that she did what she could, and her father would be proud of her. He then asks her to come with him, but she urges him to go alone. At this moment, Sam's alarm starts beeping, indicating the end of her oxygen supply. Micah hurriedly gives her the spare tank, but instead of changing it, she takes off her oxygen mask. As Sam breathes in the toxic air, the scene fades to black. The movie then fast forwards to the future, and we learn that Micah traveled alone on the spaceship. As for Sam, she managed to survive and decided to stay behind. Like the new queen bee in her colony, the changed environment is not toxic to her anymore. The movie ends as she stands on a beach with a young child. Turns out, her main goal while having intercourse with